The other day at work, I found a Corona bottle outside as I was cleaning up the patio. And I brought it inside and I hid it behind my back and I told my coworker that I had Corona. And then I showed it to her. She got mad at me.
A little too soon, I think.
Yeah, but the opportunity was there.
And why not take it, huh?
Yeah, I was. Who knows when that'll happen again?
Getting Corona?
Finding an empty Corona bottle outside.
I don't know.
Honestly, it's pretty likely. People leave shit outside all the time.
I wonder, do you remember like at the beginning of all this when sales for Corona, I guess, dropped because people, did people really think you could get COVID from buying a case of Corona?
I don't know. I don't think it was common, but I'm sure that I'm sure there was one person at least, but I don't think many people believed it.
I find it hard to imagine that even one person believed it.
I feel like there's some pretty dumb people out there.
Yeah, there are 100% a bunch of stupid people out there, but I'm just
Speaking of dumb people,
here's two of them right now.
We have a podcast. Duh.
Yeah, unbelievable. Well, I guess we can start the show.
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to Nostalgia Entertainment System. I'm your host, Josh.
I'm your other host, Paul.
Paul.
Josh.
I've got some news.
Oh.
I've got the results from a couple Twitter polls that we put out based on some previous episodes.
Twitter alert.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So the first Twitter poll was the Hoagieville one.
Oh, yeah.
I should have pulled it up. I didn't pull it up.
I believe it was Hoagieville cool or ghoul.
Yes.
This was not a part of a Halloween episode.
No. Would you like the results?
Yes.
The answer is neither. No one voted in that poll.
Wow.
So
I was wondering because I looked at it a couple days ago and I was like, oh, nobody voted. So I was very surprised somebody had in the last day or so.
Yeah. No.
I don't know why I didn't vote. Oh, I've never been to Hoagieville. That's why.
Yeah. I think the purpose of that poll was whether or not you would go to Hoagieville.
Mm-hmm.
So now that no one has voted, are you going to go to Hoagieville?
I don't know. Probably at some point, but I'm not going to make an effort to go.
That's fair.
I mean,
I wouldn't either. And I have the results from the last Twitter poll, which was, what was the worst year of your life?
Oh, I forgot. What a happy question.
6th grade, 7th grade, or 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And it is unanimous at 2 votes, 7th grade.
Wow.
7th grade sucked.
I did vote in that one. Trying to think of the last party I had. Boy, I haven't thrown a party beyond like 8 people in a long time. I don't even remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's also getting like increasingly more difficult to have like COVID aside, just like I really now only hang out with like the same 6 people. Yeah. You know, it's like I don't really have a desire to branch out that much. It's more things to schedule and keep track of, and then there's a bigger mess. It's there's 6 people I hang out with. That's great.
Mm-hmm. I get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The allure of strangers is rapidly declining.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Do I really need to meet new people now? Nah, not unless I have to. Is this what it's like getting old?
Yeah, I think so.
You just
kind of start just being like, I don't need any new people to know. My body hurts.
My body does hurt.
I can tell you're wearing a big Band-Aid.
Yeah. That's also my Halloween costume. We're recording this the day before Halloween, and I'm celebrating early.
Ooh. It's funny because it's a big Band-Aid that's pretty much just covering your penis.
Yep.
Which I appreciate.
It's not that big of a Band-Aid. But yeah, I've been noticing lately how much like everything hurts. A lot of that I think is also due to like my job is a desk job.
Oh yeah, so you're sitting a lot.
So I'm just sitting like where I'm sitting now in this chair is where like it's like very disheartening. Every night when I go to bed, I hate this because I'll wake up and I'll like make myself breakfast.
Wait, I just want to say this is a really funny story to be telling on a nostalgia podcast. Anyway, keep going.
Wait, why?
Just because you're just like
Just
complaining
going through
about
my day's routine.
your old body.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, anyway, keep going.
Yeah, so I'll wake up and I'll like.
This is the morning?
This is the morning.
Okay.
I wake up in the morning.
I just wanted to make sure you weren't waking up in the middle of the night.
I do that often.
That's why I asked.
But I don't get out of bed. I usually just like, oh, fuck, I woke up and now I can't get back to sleep. Mm-hmm. And then I'll end up looking at my phone and then making things worse.
Oh, yeah, that just wakes you right back up.
Yep. So anyway, I'll wake up in the morning. I'll like put together coffee, maybe pour myself like a bowl of cereal. Mm-hmm. And then I'll just sit down until I go to bed.
Oh.
Because I'm just like, I'm working, I'm drawing stuff, I'm animating stuff. And then once I'm done, it's like, well, I guess I'm done with work. I'm going to play video games. And then I'm still sitting down in the same spot. And then it's time to go to bed. And then I stand up. I'm like, wow, I haven't stood up in a while. And then I lay down in bed. I'm like, fuck, this sucks.
You got to go for a walk, dear boy.
Yeah, I know, but I have too much to do. I have deadlines to meet, Paul.
Well, do it when you're instead of playing your video games.
But then it's dark out.
You can still walk in the dark.
I don't want to walk in the dark.
Why not?
I don't know. It's scary. Especially this time of year.
Bring your girlfriend. She'll protect you.
She's working.
At night?
Yeah.
Oh, scary.
Yeah.
I work at night.
How's that?
Pretty good. I feel like I'm not being very interesting today.
I don't know. It's a weird...
Am I ever? That's what I thought you were going to say.
Are you ever?
Not usually.
Neither am I.
It's hard to have things to talk about these days when nothing's happening.
Nothing's happening.
So that's why you got to talk about the past.
Yep. Well, maybe we should just move on to the old episode topic now that we've talked about literally nothing interesting for almost 7 minutes.
Oh, my God. Okay, yep. And today we're talking your old Saturday morning cartoons. Should we take a break?
Yeah, let's take a little break. I'll put in some fun Saturday morning cartoon sounds here.
I heard that the Hanna-Barbera soundtrack, or not soundtrack, but like sound effects are now free and are no longer copyrighted.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. Just throwing that out there.
Dang. Now we can run away to the break.
Get ready to rock and roll with a Space Age brawl.
It's time for a little payback.
That'll really throw down. The intergalactic rumble rages on. An all-new Ultimate Muscle coming up right after Ultraman Tiga. Coming up later today, the series premiere of Fighting Foodons.
Here's something incredible. These monsters once were edible, so everybody take a look at combat creatures you can cook. Fighting Foodons is food with attitude. Pick the right ingredients to make the food obedient.
Depending on the spice you add, your foodon could be really bad.
Bad, bad, bad.
Recipes become monsters, so prepare for battle. The series premiere of Fighting Foodons coming up later today, only in the Fox Box.
Okay.
All right, we're back.
We're back from our break.
And we're back.
Well, I think normally, like, I guess it's dependent on the episode. But for this one, I did do like a little bit of digging around for some fun factoids about
okay.
Saturday morning cartoons. Most of it is just from Wikipedia.
Oh, yeah.
So I'll just read a little bit of that, maybe paraphrase a little bit here and there.
Okay.
But here's just like a very brief history for Saturday morning cartoons before we just kind of dive into like the stuff that we watched.
Lay it on me, Daddy.
Yeah. So Saturday morning cartoons is a colloquial term for original animated series programming scheduled primarily on Saturdays. There were some YouTube comments from things that I was reading where these blocks would air on Sunday.
Interesting.
That's really weird to me. So
I wonder what time period that was, like what years.
I don't know. It was on like a Fox thing that I would have watched from like 2000, like early 2000s. So
I see.
I think it just depends on like the region they were in or whatever. What I found most interesting from reading this like paragraph from Wikipedia is like the time frame for which Saturday morning cartoons existed. So they initially started in the mid 1960s and were popular from that point through the mid 1990s. What I found interesting from here is that when we were watching Saturday morning cartoons is like the decline of like that whole block, which eventually made sense like in the grand scheme of things when I think about it. But just like really thinking like we were watching it during like the decline just seems kind of like, huh, that's weird, because there were a lot of great shows like Recess and like a bunch of other, like I've still watched episodes of Recess recently and thought like, this is fun and entertaining. I don't know. But I mean, due to multiple things, like just overall like cultural norms and increased competition from other formats available at all times, like Disney Channel, Cartoon Network, where you can just watch these kinds of things 24/7 and it's not relegated to a 4-hour block on a single day of the week. Things like that were like stuff that just eventually killed off like the block in general. Another thing that really contributed to that, especially within the last 2 decades of the existence of this children's programming block, had to do with like government mandates.
Oh yeah.
So like for people that watched like one Saturday morning and you would see like the little light bulb and someone would like pull on it and it would say illuminated television, or you would see like the E/I in the corner, which stood for educational and informative, which were just like TV mandates at like certain like, I don't know, like certain TV shows for a certain hour of like time that stations would air or networks would air had to meet like educational like regulations and stuff. So like having to include all these things for all these shows and all that, the cost just kept driving up and up and up, and to a point where like they were pretty much just no longer profitable, because that's the whole point of like the cartoons, is that this was a block that was meant to advertise to children. That's pretty much it. This whole block is to sell things to kids, and like
God bless America.
God bless America. But yeah, that's pretty much how it started. Like in the 1960s, when networks realized that, oh, we can just consolidate all children's programming into one block on one day and sell these time slots and whatever to advertisers, like that's pretty lucrative, on top of these shows being limited animation, made it really cheap to produce. So like shows like Scooby Doo, where it's like, you know, like you see like Scooby and Shaggy running,
and they just keep running by the same background. Like
they keep running by the same background, or like they're running away from a different thing, but it's the exact same scene. And like sometimes it's like kind of jarring, but whatever. But it's like things like that where like you'll save frames that way, you'll save time, you'll save money, and also the fact that voice actors would voice multiple characters made these kinds of things a lot cheaper. But as the decades progressed and as like original programming became more, I guess, I don't know, like developed or sought after, I don't really know what the reason is for that. But the overall like decline of profitability started to drop and all these other things. So that paired with like the rise of home video and also video games, also like all these things together contributed to pretty much Saturday morning cartoons not being around anymore.
Wow.
Which is very strange to me, but also, I don't know, it's just a thing that I grew up with that's no longer around. So I guess in a way it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I had never really thought about it, but I didn't really realize until the last like week or so that there weren't any more Saturday morning cartoons. Like just because I don't have kids. I am not a kid, so I don't have cable. So I have never, not since I was a kid watching Saturday morning cartoons, have I like tried to find them. So I kind of just assumed that they were still there and happening. But no,
yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
but it also makes sense, like with the advent of, especially with like Netflix and streaming and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Yeah, there's like probably
Spider-Man and Elsa on YouTube.
Yeah, there's very few kids who are probably like looking forward to Saturday morning when they can finally watch some of their favorite shows, because they can just watch them whenever their parents allow them.
Yep.
If they're being responsible and have done their chores.
Yep. Which is like, boy, what an old man sentiment though, right? Like back in my day, we only had 4 hours on one day of the week to watch cartoons.
That is basically what we're going to be like. Although we also had like Arthur, which was on like every day.
Yeah. I feel like I personally always feel like PBS is kind of like an exception to that
Well, it is like by definition different because I think it's not like the same shows. They're like legitimately educational instead of advertising.
Yeah. Yep. Definitely. What programming block? What did you watch? Like, did you stick to like one like channel? Did you like move around or like what was your thing?
I would like move around. I wasn't like super loyal to any of the cartoons. But I would kind of like hop around and normally just kind of like channel surf. I don't think there was any Saturday morning cartoon that none that I can remember that I like was like, oh, I need to watch this every Saturday, because I think for a good portion of my childhood, I was in like YMCA soccer, and our games were always on Saturday mornings. And so there was a lot of times where I would miss it. But I remember like one of the first Saturday morning cartoons I remember like wanting to really watch was Pokemon, because it was like huge then. Like I feel like the Pokemon cards and the series were kind of like just becoming big in my life anyway, in my elementary school life and like kindergarten.
Okay, so I have to ask.
Yeah.
What channel was because like I never watched Pokemon. Because as much as especially as a kid, as much as I loved the franchise, like the TV show, the games, the toys, everything, like I never really watched the TV show because it never aired on any channel.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you what channel it is.
Oh, really?
No, I don't remember. And I didn't catch it very often, but I wanted to watch it.
I know for a while it was on Kids WB.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Which I think aired on CBS, but our CBS never did that. Instead, we got like Nick Jr. on our CBS.
We had the WB channel, I think, which was channel. Did we? Boy, I don't remember. I know we had the WB for a while, and I think it changed to PAX, which then left, and then we got the CW, which was the WB. I don't really remember.
I remember PAX TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to watch Diagnosis Murder on that show.
I think
that channel.
I think I remember watching like Supermarket Sweep or like some sort of like old game show.
Yeah, I think that was basically an old people channel.
It was definitely an old people channel, and I loved it.
I did too.
It was very entertaining.
Old people and like 10-year-olds, I feel like really get a lot
they
out of
get a lot of overlap.
Yeah. But let's see. What are the other shows? I wrote down some. Yeah, like I basically just going to lift off. I'm going to lift off here.
Whoa.
Woo. No, I'm going to list off a few shows that I would watch if I like saw them on. So sometimes they would put Scooby Doo, Where Are You on Saturday morning still. And I used to love that shit. I still really like Scooby Doo. I think it's very enjoyable. Those old ones. Whenever Ducktales was on, I watched Ducktales, Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
Wow. These are all shows that I never watched on Saturdays.
Yeah. This was like
they didn't air. I either didn't watch them or like they just didn't air.
I think they would air occasionally. Well, no, they wouldn't be occasionally. It'd have to be every week. They definitely, I think, aired, I want to say on like ABC, because that's the Disney like affiliate station. So I would try to catch those if I saw those on. And then also Recess was a big one for me as well. Speaking of which, I watched the intro to that today, and it really confused me. Like, so what happens is you like see all the kids, like the gang. You got TJ, is that the main kid with the hat?
Yeah.
Okay, you got him. You got Gus, who looks like if you and I had a baby. Then you got Mikey and Spinelli and Gretchen and Vince. Yeah. I think that's all of them. That's all the main characters. So they like come outside and they're like standing in formation. And then they all look at TJ like they're all like, should we? And then he like gives them like a look that's like, yeah, time to do it. And then like this like very like this music that is very like reminiscent of in like an old military movie where it's like flute, but it's like very like peppy, like when they're like putting a plan together. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like a montage almost of like a plan in action. And so what it sets it up for is it looks like it's going to be like some sort of plan that they're putting into action to like, I don't know, get back at a teacher or something. or like the principal, or like do some sort of mischief during recess. But instead, all they do is they all go off and do their own thing, and then they have to go inside at the end of recess. It's not a plan at all. I don't know. It was very weird.
I think I don't know. I think that intro is just, I don't know.
I mean, it would make more sense if it didn't. It just looks like they were like about to do something, like have a cool, almost like Ocean's 11 style, like
yeah, I guess that makes
plan
sense.
happening, scheme or scam. But no, they all like Gus just like blows a bubble of bubble gum and it gets all over his head.
That is really funny.
And then Mikey eats a big sandwich. It's like, why did you all need TJ's permission to go do that stuff?
I don't know. They chose him as the de facto leader, so they have to defer to him.
Probably. Honestly, main characters in shows like that, I like Recess. I think it's a fine show, but I feel like the main characters in those shows are always the most boring. It's like their characteristic is like they're the leader, which isn't really a personality trait. It's like Leonardo in Ninja Turtles. Like, well, yeah, I get it. He's the leader, but
and maybe I don't know. Maybe that's part of it because then it's more of a self-insert. Like, oh yeah, I could definitely beat TJ. I don't know.
I don't have any other personality traits.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll put myself into TJ's shoes because he's the main character, and I don't know.
Yeah, I guess now that
something like that.
Now that I say that, it does kind of make it a little bit more like if he doesn't have any personality traits, it's easier for each kid to be like, oh, I'm kind of like him.
Yeah,
in this way.
I have a fun fact about Recess.
Okay.
The episode of Recess where TJ like gets detention and can't go out to recess or whatever, and has to like stay inside with like the nerdy kids. Do you remember that episode where they end up like playing D&D or whatever?
And he like slowly like he starts wearing nerdier and nerdier clothes?
Something like that.
Okay,
yeah.
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. So in that episode, one of the like nerdy kids says, "All right, we all gotta pick our fantasy names. But really, our fantasy names are just our real names backwards. So you're JT." That guy introduces his character as which I looked up and I think it's a Lord of the Rings reference. He introduces himself as Gandor Primulon.
Well, that name just like fits like a little puzzle piece into my brain.
Yeah, like I'm Gandor Primulon and whatever. So anyway, way back when, I'm gonna guess 2006, 2007. I for whatever reason like remembered that bit when I was making my very first RuneScape character. And to this day, my RuneScape username is Gandor backwards, which is Rodnag.
Wow, that's pretty cool. So you didn't get Gandor Primulon as your username?
No, I was one step ahead of that. I was like, no, Gandor.
You were going backwards like that guy. Okay, I see. Wow.
And that's how I got my RuneScape username.
Wow. So anybody listening to this can find your RuneScape character.
Yep.
And lead you into the wilderness and kill you still? Is that still how it works? I haven't played RuneScape since like 2008.
I don't think that trick would work nowadays, but you definitely could. If anything else, I don't know, you'll run into a bot that's trying to sell you in-game stuff for real money.
Oh, you ever buy that?
No.
Oh, that's probably good.
I don't know. That's my fun little fact about Recess.
That is fun. There were other shows that I really liked. They weren't necessarily cartoons. Specifically, I'm thinking of Saved by the Bell, which was...
Oh, wow. That's another thing that never showed up.
Oh, yeah. Saturday morning. That one, I think, moved. It didn't stay long on Saturday mornings. But I remember eventually it moved to like a daily slot that I somehow watched eventually. But I grew to really liking that show, even though I was only like an elementary schooler or a middle schooler, and it was about high schoolers for the most part. It was a big part of my childhood, watching Zach Morris and the gang like get up to all these schemes and scams. Yeah, I liked that show. I think it ended up airing like on some other channel way later, but I guess what are you talking or like referencing a specific like chunk of years or something? I don't know.
Okay.
No, this is all just based on like me looking at a list of Saturday morning cartoons and being like, yes, I know I watched those on a Saturday morning. I don't remember when.
Interesting.
And I'm sure it's very skewed time frame wise, just because I had so many other things, just mostly like soccer games and stuff going on Saturday mornings. So, and I remember either soccer games or like going to the grocery store and then getting back home and it was like noon or 1 p.m. And so it'd be like football was on instead. So I'd go do something else.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Saturday morning was huge for me.
Okay, yeah, lay it on us.
It was just because we didn't have cable, and so the only opportunity for me to watch like cartoons that weren't Arthur is on Saturday morning. So like I was definitely the kind of person that like there are shows that I'm gonna watch every week, and like I would even like I don't know, like I hated getting up just to go to school, but I would wake up even earlier than I would get up for school to like watch these shows.
Wow.
Because again, for whatever reason, like the time that some of these like blocks started was like super early.
Oh yeah.
Like way
That
earlier
also was
than
probably
I think.
my problem was I did not want to get up to watch them.
Yeah. And like I like I don't know, I like found shows that I watched that I would like have a routine on. Like I would watch these like shows on like ABC on like one Saturday morning, and then I'd switch over to Fox and watch these things on Fox Kids and whatever else. So yeah, I don't know. I mostly watched shows on Fox because Fox Kids, which I didn't really watch. I think I watched like the tail end of Fox Kids before it transitioned into the Fox box.
Oh, that sounds familiar.
And that was like from however like the entirety of whenever the Fox box aired from like I don't know early 2000s something or whatever to whenever I stopped watching it, probably in like high school, like beginning of high school or something. Like that was my shit. That was my jam. And that's also when like I started watching anime.
Oh, I remember seeing some anime shows.
Yeah, that's like when it all like started like I don't know, clicking for me. Particularly when Fox Box first aired, there was a show on there called Shaman King, which is getting a remake in 2021, and I am incredibly excited for that.
Wow.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a remake for it. Like one was planned many years ago, and the creator of the manga like rejected any and all remakes that didn't involve the original voice cast. So one can only assume that the original voice cast is involved with this new production. Anyway, I'm very excited for it because that was like the first show that I remember watching like, oh yeah, I got to watch this every single week. And I like got invested in it. I started like keeping track of like the plot and the characters.
Whoa. That's a lot of work for a kid.
Yeah. And then one day I was at Kmart and I was looking at the magazine stand. And when I was looking at the magazines, the main character from Shaman King was on the cover of one. And it was a cover of a Shonen Jump. And that's why I started reading manga. And then from there, I've turned into the degenerate weeb that I am.
Wow.
It all started with Saturday morning cartoons. But I love the Fox box. It was great.
I wonder if that was the case for a lot of people.
Probably. If not Pokemon, it was definitely channels that like syndicated and like aired those. Cause that's also where I started watching One Piece, which I'm still watching. Like 945 episodes in, I'm still watching it.
Have you seen every episode?
Yeah.
Wow. That's hardcore commitment.
I think in a couple weeks, it's going to reach chapter 1000 of the manga.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been going on for 20 years.
That's a long ass time.
And I think it's only like 60, 70% done.
I mean, it's no Simpsons, but
That's true. It is no Simpsons.
probably consistently better.
However, there was a Simpsons intro where like everyone burst through the door and like I think someone is dressed as a One Piece character. I know Bart is dressed like Naruto. Someone is dressed like Goku.
I thought you were saying there was an intro in One Piece where they were doing a Simpsons thing.
No, the other way around. It was a couch gag on The Simpsons.
I see. I was really confused as to why One Piece characters were doing a Simpsons gag but dressed as different anime characters.
That would be
That's a lot of layers.
That is a lot of layers. But yeah, I don't know. I love the Fox box. It was great. And there was also like a bunch of weird non-anime shows on it too. The one that I can really remember is the Cramp Twins, which I looked it up. It's a British produced TV show. It's one of those like, I don't know, it's just like one of those really weird cartoons where it's just like someone pitched an idea and it got greenlit. And I was like, all right.
Okay.
I don't know how this got greenlit, but that's fine. But it just follows these two like middle school age boys, Wayne and Lucian. Lucian is just a typical nerdy kid and Wayne's the bad boy. And for whatever reason, Wayne is blue. Like he's the color blue.
Okay.
It's one of those TV shows too where like sometimes they just like, Skeeter is like teal.
Oh, yeah.
It's like one of those things where it's like, all right, I guess people can just be whatever the hell color they want.
I mean, Doug was a weird show in a lot of ways, but yeah.
Doug was a weird show.
Which we got to talk about Doug.
We got to talk about Doug. Yeah, it was like one of those weird shows. There's one episode that I remember where there's like a series of like car crashes that are happening in the neighborhood and no one knows why. So in order for them to find out, they're like, we gotta like test this, but we can't drive or something like that. So what these two do, which I don't know why they ended up doing this plan together, because the whole shtick is that they don't like each other. So I don't know why they cooperated on this thing. But Lucian ends up inside of a shopping cart and Wayne ends up pushing him down the street like as fast as he can run to figure out why these cars are crashing. And it turns out that all the white picket fences end up like in like the position of the sun, like blind drivers. And so they just crash. It's a weird episode.
That's a weirdly realistic problem for a kid's show. And it's like, I feel like normally it'd be like, oh, it turns out the white picket fences are monsters and they like jump in the middle of the road or something like that. But
it's strange, but I liked it.
I never saw that show or ever heard of it.
Yeah,
it's called the Cramp Twins.
The Cramp Twins.
That's a weird name.
I mean, there was also just like a bunch of other weird shows. I think on Fox Kids there's this other show called The Ripping Friends, which is about three brothers who are like very. It from what I can remember, the style of it is very Ren and Stimpy, where it's like it's a kid show, but it's also like kind of skewed towards adults and a little bit disgusting. It's about these like three brothers who are just like huge muscly men, and they just go on weird adventures.
Sounds familiar.
They always eat steak and eggs for breakfast that their mom cooks for them.
Wait, can we look up a picture of that?
Yeah,
because that's sounding familiar, but also I know I might be thinking of the show that I would occasionally watch, which was called like Super Sumos, I think.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember was that a TV show or was that a webtoon?
Pretty sure that was a Saturday morning cartoon, but
I might be like conflating the two because I did watch both of them. Did I use that word correctly?
I think so. I don't know.
Here's the Ripping Friends. They always like yell and scream and I don't know. It's like a very odd, strange, disgusting looking show.
Yeah, I never watched this show. I'm thinking of the sumo one.
But
it does look very Ren and Stimpy. I bet it is the same animator.
Yeah, but I do remember the sumo one. That was also really fun. Yeah, I don't know. Fox just had a bunch of great. To me, it had a bunch of great shows, a bunch of great anime. That looking back, I don't know. I think I also liked them because it was something new. You know, like that kind of thing where it's like I've never seen this before, and I guess I like it because I don't really have I don't have a point of reference for not liking this. So I guess I'll just like it. You know?
I was the opposite where I was really into like familiar things. So, you know, things like Scooby Doo or like Saved by the Bell or even like the Flintstones, like stuff that I had seen my family watch. And then I had just like come in the room and seen it. Like I was like, oh, I like this. But anything new, I was always very skeptical of. And
so that's really interesting.
I could easily like watch like half an episode and turn it off and be like, whatever. And then not think about it ever again.
Wow, that's interesting. Because I think a combination of like my parents not having like, you know, my parents not being super well off and just having like limited access to media of really any kind. I'm like always curious in like new things. And so I'm always just like, oh yeah, what's this new thing? And I still feel that way today where it's like a very innate feeling I get whenever I like play a new video game where it's like this feels like new and it's like an adventure and like, oh yeah. Even if I end up not liking the game, the feeling of playing a new game is like really exciting to me.
See, and with me in video games, it's the exact opposite. I really like games that I've played for years, but starting a new video game, I will easily quit very quickly.
Oh man. I mean, I end up quitting a lot just for like time reasons, but like whenever I like, oh, Steam sale's on, I guess I'll buy something new because it's $10 or whatever. It's like, oh yeah, something new. I'm experiencing something new. This is great. Just like any kind of new media, I'm really excited for.
Yeah, I just gravitate towards the opposite, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's also like from like watching all these shows. Man, that I'm looking at the list of like shows that I have here that I watched, and like there is a lot of like video game like tie-in shows too. Like Sonic had an anime. that aired on Fox Box. Kirby had a show that was on the Fox Box also.
Oh wow, I never saw the Kirby one. I think I saw the Sonic one.
Both of those are, I like them. I still like both of them. Mm-hmm. I'm sure lots of people will disagree with me on this one, but the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that aired on the Fox Box starting in 2003, I think is the best produced like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series ever.
Really?
I'm giving it to 2003.
Wow.
It's a very controversial opinion.
That is bold.
And it's also because that's the only one that I've really like watched. Like I've watched some of the like older original ones and it's too campy for me. The 2003 one took it in like a really darker tone that more matched the original comic series. There's still like goofs and gags and jokes and whatever because it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I feel like that particular series also leaned more into like the overall like plot of the franchise, which I really liked.
Yeah, that is true. I watched the original like cartoon a lot as a kid, and like I really liked that one, and so I definitely really like the campiness of it. And then I also like how that one it still did manage to have like a lot of the lore and stuff, like much more so than like any of the live action movies really ever did. But because I really liked, seeing like the original Krang and his like weird little voice and stuff like that. And those episodes were always much more interesting to me when it was like stuff about like Dimension X or something, or like some weird future technology, rather than like Shredder fighting them with like the Foot Clan soldiers or whatever. But I did catch a few episodes of the 2003 series, and it did have some interesting stuff. But I remember that was when my little brother was getting really into Ninja Turtles. So I hadn't watched as much of it as he had. And also like, instead of watching, a series from beginning to end, you basically could watch whatever was on TV, or if somebody got you like a videotape of like 5 episodes, you could watch those. And I remember he had a videotape. So I've seen like 5 episodes of that series, and the episodes looked like fun and cool, and there was an interesting plot point. But since it was only 5 episodes, I couldn't really get deep into it.
Yeah.
And so I remember the first one I watched was like, it was like way down the line of like the original like plot line. Like it's the guy who was Shredder.
Oroku Saki.
Yeah, Oroku Saki. Turns out he was a Krang type alien the whole time. So he was an alien in somebody's tummy, and he was like on trial on Earth. And then it started with his trial. So I was like, whoa, I catch up here by a lot. Like I think of Shredder as like a human ninja, and instead he's an alien like Krang. But there's no Krang. And so then he like escaped or something in a rocket, and then the Ninja Turtles all ended up in space. And then I don't think there was a conclusion to that episode on that tape, which is really weird. Or maybe there was, and Shredder just got away anyway. I don't know.
There was a point, I think, in like 2000, somewhere in like late 2000s, but definitely, or maybe around I don't know, like 2007 to 2010-ish, somewhere in that time period. Like that particular series, I think either ended and it transitioned in something completely different. Transitioned to Turtles in Time, I think, or Turtles and whatever. They end up in the future, and it's like a different like style and a different like production company that's animating it. I remember being so disappointed and just like so sad that like this thing that I loved and watched for, at this point, years, just ended. The thing about like Saturday morning cartoons, and I think these cartoons in general, that really disappoints me, is how unceremoniously they all just stop.
Yeah.
They all just like, no warning, we're done, and that's it. And like, I don't know, that just like always bothered me. Cause like there wasn't really a transition period from like, hey, we're moving along.
No, I agree. It was because it was like a kid's show, I think. So they were just like, oh, well, we'll just cancel it. So it's like,
yeah,
they don't really do anything. Sorry, I want to look up and see what you were talking about with the ending transitioning into Turtles in Time. I want to see. Yeah,
I don't remember if it was called Turtles in Time, but it was definitely the kind of thing where like, I remember, I kind of remember the first episode where they have to go to like the post office or something, and they have to get a letter from themselves, or that like they had sent, or so, I don't know. there was something where they had to time travel. So they brought this letter to the post office and said, don't deliver this until this year or whatever. And so when they time travel to that year, they go and pick up the letter. And in normal, like, hasn't been a long time since something happened. There was just like one cubby hole with like cobwebs and then a single letter. And then the postman just like takes it out and hands it to like Donatello or something. Donatello's also in a trench coat for some reason because he needs to be hidden.
Yeah, he can't just be a turtle going out there.
Yeah, but the thing is, at this point, like on this like alternate timeline or whatever, there's aliens all over the place. They're best friends. They later become best friends with like a robot named Sterling.
Well, I found a little what you're talking about. So apparently in the 6th season, this was subtitled Fast Forward.
That's what it was.
They retooled the series with a new art style and comedic tone. The season's plot focused on the turtles being transported 100 years into the future, the year 2105, where they meet and befriend Cody Jones, the great-grandson of April and Casey. Ooh, so they shacked up.
Ooh.
They must also contend with futurist enemies like Shokanabo and his minion Viral, as well as dealing with the activities of Cody's uncle, Darius Dunn.
I remember none of those characters. I remember the robot British butler guy, which I think his name was Sterling.
The main story would conclude in the 7th and final season, subtitled Back to the Sewer, while sporting another redesign for the entire cast. After returning to the present day, the turtles must battle a cybernetic version of Shredder, which was the result of Viral merging with the data of the Utrom Shredder.
Oh yeah, Utrom Shredder. He's Utroms are Krang.
Oh, Krang is an Utrom?
Yeah, I believe that's what it is.
There's also have you listened to any of the podcast? We've got to stop talking TMNT on CBB.
I listened to the first episode they released for free.
Oh, you should. It's definitely worth the $5 a month because it's great. And they just talked about, apparently there was a movie called Turtles Forever, which features like a crossover between the 1980s cartoon Turtles and the 2003 Turtles. And
that sounds vaguely familiar. I think I may have even seen it.
Oh, I don't think I watched it, but it sounds right up my alley, and I think that was their most recent episode that they released.
Wow.
But I haven't listened yet. Got Nick Weiger on it.
Whoa.
And Heather Ann Campbell.
Wow.
In addition to, Scott and Sprague the Whisperer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll check it out.
You should. I'm just going to plug it right now because I like that podcast.
Yeah, I love that like time for TMNT. Really good. My favorite. I think it's the best.
I remember as a kid.
So what? Sue me.
You want me to sue you?
Please don't.
Okay, I won't. I remember as a kid being weirdly, I don't know why it like upset me, but I was like, these new Turtles are too like edgy, like unlike the old cartoons, mostly because I remember there's a part in the theme song for the 2003 Ninja Turtles one where like April's on the screen and it like the song mentions her being like sexy. And as a kid being like, they shouldn't say that. This is a kid's show. I don't know why I was so offended by
funny.
it. I mean, it is kind of weird that they just like outright said it.
I don't remember that.
Watch the intro.
Okay. Should we watch it now?
Let's watch it now. I just had a great time doing this morning too with other shows.
Chain reaction, living underground. Jitsu action. It's a shell.
Oh, and I also didn't like that they would say like "what the shell" instead of "what the hell."
Oh, I loved it
because I thought it was like that's too close to cursing. They said sexy.
What? No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. That was sexy.
No, the lyrics are always stick together no matter what.
Oh, really? Wow. Oh, wow. I thought it was something about a sexy camera.
I was really confused. Like, what are you talking? Is it because she winks?
Maybe as a
it?
kid, I thought she was sexy and I was projecting into the song.
Maybe.
Wow.
Little horny Paul.
Yeah. Little horny Paul.
Yeah, man, I love that. I love that whole series. What also was a bummer about like a bunch of Saturday morning cartoons, a lot of shows, I feel like is also a lot of them got what I am now going to call the Netflix treatment, where it's like, we're done.
Yeah.
No more. Like It's like, what the god damn it, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah. At best, like maybe they have one episode to tie everything up, which it really doesn't do. But
It's like it's always too many things got canceled or just like stopped getting syndicated or whatever. And it was always a bummer, man.
they got My Name Is Earl. That's what I call it.
Oh, and My Name Is Earl. I also, so I would wake up, like I kind of alluded to this earlier, but I would wake up super early, like as early as 6 a.m. to like watch these shows. And I would like wake up.
Were they starting that early?
Some of them did. I definitely remember having to wake up at like 6 a.m. to watch Digimon Tamers. So I would like, I think I had like an alarm and I would wake up and just like turn the TV on and it would be too bright and I can't see. And then just like, that's how I would start my day and just like watching TV at 6 a.m.
Big bowl of cereal.
Yep. I would get some cereal later.
What kind of cereal are you eating while you watch this?
What would I have been eating? Probably Apple Jacks or Lucky Charms.
Ooh, I remember Apple Jacks. Are Apple Jacks still a thing?
They're still a thing. I had an Apple Jacks phase. I haven't had it in a while though, and I don't need to go back.
Yeah. What was the other one you said? I'm sorry.
Lucky Charms. I had a Lucky Charms phase. I had an Apple Jacks phase. It's a little tangent, but I remember pouring myself a bowl of cornflakes one day and seeing in my head it was a cornflake the size of like half a playing card. I'm seeing like, oh my god, these cornflakes are huge.
They're giant. They're bigger than me. I don't know. I'm giving you a puberty voice.
Yeah, that was weird. Not the voice, the cornflake.
The voice was weird too.
But sometimes I would wake up early and the shows haven't started yet. So I would like turn on Fox and it would be an infomercial or something. I was like, I don't really want to watch this. I want to watch something for kids. And so because we didn't have cable, we only had like 6 channels. And the only other station that was putting anything out that was towards kids was TBN. Did you have TBN?
No. I had TBS.
TBN is the Trinity Broadcasting Network. It's the Christian channel.
Oh, whoa. Okay, so of course they're putting out Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah. So the only show that I really remember watching is Davey and Goliath. Have you ever?
I've heard of that.
That show sucks.
I thought it was, honestly, like when I first saw like images from it, I thought it was a parody.
No, I think people have done parodies where like Goliath the dog will say fuck.
Yeah, I think I've seen a couple parodies too.
Like,
but
quit being a little bitch, Davey. Like that kind of thing. That show sucked though.
Yeah.
But it was like, whatever. I just need something to pass the next hour so I can start watching anime.
Did you ever watch, this is the kind of show that would probably have aired on that channel as well. Did you ever watch the show Virtues?
Did that air on PBS?
It might have. My channels are
Virtues of the book or something like that. And
yeah. There's a buffalo who taught virtues. And
I've watched one episode that was on pbskids.com. Yeah, we didn't get that show on TV. I only knew about it because I would like go to the website and like look at shows like, what? I've never heard of this thing. And then click on it and I think they had an episode you could watch or like games you could play or something. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if I ever went to the PBS Kids website as a kid.
They're great games. That was like prime time for like going to a website and just like playing games. Play like a Cyber Chase game. You go to Cartoon Network. There was like a fun adventure game where you like play as Courage and you have to talk to all like the characters. Nabisco had the great mini golf games. Great time to go to the internet, play some games, do nothing of any importance.
I remember going to I think we've briefly talked about it before, about like Postopia, I want to say, where
that was great, man. Yeah. Postopia. I wonder if
there was like a future world you could go to.
I wonder if someone's archived that. I would love to take a look at Postopia again.
I want to see what it was all about because I'm sure it was actually just boring.
Oh, I'm sure it was too, but I would still like log on every single day doing the same dumb bullshit.
Yeah. I remember there was like a thing where you could design, I think, a robot or maybe like a robot dog or something. And I remember you could print it out and I would try to print one out like every day and tell my parents were like, you can't do this anymore because it's using too much printer ink.
Ah, yep.
And our printer sucked. So it'd always print out like half of the image.
Yep. I remember printing things and not having like enough ink. And then like you'd get like, you'd print something in like black and then it would end up being like magenta and blue.
Yeah.
Boy, what a time, huh? I guess printers would still do that, but
Yeah.
I don't really
Printers
know.
haven't gotten much better.
no, they really haven't. What else, man? There's just like way too many shows that I would watch.
Yeah. I feel like my problem was just like I never really got into any of them unless I like also had seen them somewhere else. So I knew I already liked them. So
The one thing, so I wonder how unique. I'm guessing it was pretty unique to the Fox box. I don't remember like one Saturday morning or the eventual ABC Kids ever doing this. But the Fox box would have sweepstakes, and I would always want to enter them, but I would never be allowed to enter them.
I don't think as a kid I knew what a sweepstakes was.
I didn't really either, but all I knew is that I could win a Game Boy Advance. I was like, I want to enter the sweepstakes. Mom, let me enter the sweepstakes. And then I never could.
Yeah.
But
my parents never let me either.
They would always have like watch and win, and you could get this like Game Boy Advance with the new Sonic game, or you could get a Nintendo GameCube with a Wavebird controller. It's like third prize. I watched a thing that was like third prize winners will get a Fox box t-shirt, which I did end up looking for like a bootleg version, and I can't find one. So I'll have to make one myself because I really want one.
You should.
Yeah. I mean, that would pretty much be my day. I was like, wake up at 6 a.m., watch something on TBN if it was on, or just like to pass the time. And then like, I think I would start out watching something on ABC because my like more like solidified memories, I guess, are of ABC Kids, where it was less original programming and more like we're just going to air Disney show channels. It's like it was more live action stuff.
Yeah.
So like you would get like Lizzie McGuire or Even Stevens or Phil of the Future, etc.
Sure.
In addition to like other cartoons like Kim Possible or whatever. But I also remember that really I would watch that stuff, switch over for the majority of like the block or like the time block to Fox, watch all my anime, and then switch back to ABC to watch Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah. I remember wanting to get into Power Rangers, and so I would watch it whenever I caught it, which was always like months or sometimes like a year apart. And so it would always be like a different series and a different plot line. And I was always like, I like this. I know what's going on, but I have no fucking clue. Still don't.
But yeah, I looked a little bit more into like, just because I watched a video earlier about ABC Kids. And this is kind of why earlier I said it kind of makes sense, like the eventual decline. In 2010, ABC decided to just stop providing like educational and informative or whatever compliant programming with the final like ABC Kids air on August 27, 2011. So at this point, I'm in high school. Like that's the year that I graduated high school. And all throughout high school, like I kind of stopped watching cartoons just because I was doing speech and debate. And almost every Saturday, like I'm out of town doing a tournament or whatever. So like kind of similar, like when you had soccer games, I just wasn't at home to watch these cartoons, which kind of like, I remember thinking like, I remember at some point, I think the very first one feeling a little sad, like, oh, I can't watch my Saturday morning cartoons anymore.
Wow. You were watching them that long, huh?
Yeah. Well, hey man, why not?
No judgment. Yeah. But I just,
yeah,
never even occurred to me.
Yeah. I would watch them as much as I could. And then I started like, I just like got weaned off of them from like not being able to watch them anymore. And I remember distinctly having like a thought of like, man, I miss watching these cartoons in the morning, and it sucked. And now I don't think they're around anymore, just like in general, which is even sadder.
Yeah, they're not streaming anywhere either. No, which is too bad. I mean, HBO Max I think has like some of the old Hanna-Barbera stuff, but that's about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you can find stuff on like DVD, I know, but it's a lot of effort.
It is kind of a shame though that a lot of these shows I think are just kind of lost to time, like the Cramp Twins.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, I can't imagine how many people actually watched the Cramp Twins, actually watched Fighting Foodons, which was just another like short-lived shonen anime where you're a chef, you're a battle chef or something, and you create food and then you put a card on them and then they turn into life and then they fight. It's like Pokemon with food.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
It really was, but I love the fuck out of that show. The main character, like his food companion was a was a guy called Fried Ricer, and he was just a plate of fried rice. And much like Pokemon, they only say their name.
Oh, so it's just a Pokemon clone.
It's a Pokemon clone with food.
I wish I could have been trying to make children's television at that point, because it sounds easy as hell. Like, it's like, what if we did this show, but instead of cute animals, they're like a plate of spaghetti? And they're like, great, that's a show.
That's a character. I'm not joking. There is just a plate of spaghetti.
Fucking course there is. Wow, that is hilarious.
Yeah. Whenever I see comments online about like any kind of Japanese media, and it's always like, this is so weird. Can you believe the Japanese made this? I can't help but think like, you fucking vanilla piece of shit. Cause like I grew up with that kind of stuff where like one of my favorite shows on the Fox box was Ultimate Muscle, which is like an intergalactic wrestling anime. And there's a bunch of weird shit in there. Like there's a character who is like a chess man, where like
the chess,
like a chess
game?
piece. Yeah. So like I think like his normal head is like the king. And then he has two other like chess pieces on his shoulders that are a knight and a rook. And then I think at some point he transforms into a whole castle, and like his like lower half turns into a horse, and this is all in like a wrestling ring.
This is bizarre sounding.
Yeah. And like, to me, this is just completely normal. Like, yeah, that's that
happens to you on the daily.
happens to me on the daily. There's like a man animal hybrid, and his name was Dick Van Dyck.
What?
His animal part was a Dick, which is, for those that don't know, it's like an African like ungulate.
I don't know either of those animals.
There were, yeah.
Dick or an ungulate.
An ungulate is hoofed, like a deer is an ungulate, a moose is an ungulate. It's a four-legged hoofed animal.
Huh. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, just like weird shows like that like I just grew up with. And it always pisses me off whenever I see people just like, I can't believe how weird this is. Like, nah, you like middle America vanilla ass piece of shit that has no imagination. Get fucked. Thinking it's weird. That's always my sentiment.
I mean, that does sound pretty weird.
It is weird, but like, to me, it's not weird. It's imaginative.
Yeah. I mean, there's also like American shows that are just as weird and also probably worse. But even just like those Hanna-Barbera cartoons, like most of them involved like animals who could talk and solved mysteries and or played instruments. That's pretty much the premise of all of those shows, which is pretty weird, especially, well, I don't know, maybe not in the 60s. I wasn't alive then. I can't tell you.
That's true. I wasn't alive either.
Was it the 60s or 70s? I think it was the 60s that Scooby Doo came out.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. I thought I had more of that point, but I don't.
You have any other fond memories of Saturday morning cartoons you'd like to share? Any other shows that you watched?
No. I think one of my favorite, how do I want to make this little segue? I think that a really solid move that some of these shows did was they would make like feature-length movies. And I really liked that. Specifically, I'm thinking of the Recess movie. Did you ever watch that? I think it's called Recess School's Out.
I have watched it. Yeah, I think we watched it together.
Did we?
I don't know.
We might have. But I remember like thinking, wow, that's a great movie. And it also was kind of like a good send-off, because I think after that movie came out, I kind of stopped watching the show. But I liked that the stakes were a little bit higher and like everybody had to work together, like the teachers and the students and stuff. And I was like, wow, that's so cool. Yep. It was, and then, yeah, it was like a good finale, even though I don't think the show ended, but.
That's true. Yeah. I think that's one of the few instances though, where like a show is popular enough to warrant a movie. Like I think Doug got a movie.
Oh, I loved Doug's movie as well. Oh, we didn't talk about Doug.
We didn't talk about Doug. You want to throw in a little Doug talk?
I mean, you got Quail Man.
Oh,
you got Pork Chop.
That theme song, what a banger.
Yeah.
Nice little beat, whistling, some snaps.
It was so weird too, because like his the girl who he has a crush on, his friend Patty Mayonnaise, like her last name is just Mayonnaise. He's got like a weird neighbor.
Oh yeah.
With who's like inventing stuff, and the neighbor's wife is the mayor. It was a really weird, interesting show.
Yeah.
You got Roger Klotz, who
Roger
I like
Klotz.
to call Macklemore,
Oh yeah, that's right.
because they look very similar.
That's true. You know Macklemore can't stop singing about those nematodes.
Was that a Doug thing?
That was the first episode.
Oh, I don't know if I ever saw the first episode.
Yeah,
honestly.
where like Roger like help me find a nematode or something like that. I don't know. Something with nematodes.
Oh, and he's like bullying Doug into doing it, right?
I think so.
For a homework project, maybe?
I don't remember. Something with nematodes. That's all I really remember.
Oh, yeah. I remember the movie, the plot is that they find like a monster and they name him Melville. Or did they name him Herman? I think they name him Herman after Herman Melville. And why did they find a monster? What the hell kind of universe is that? I don't know. I don't remember much about that, honestly. But I liked it.
It was a great show.
Should have done more research about the shows I liked. But they were good.
They were good.
You got any more shows you liked?
I mean, there's tons more shows that I don't even think I really even mentioned. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! And all of like the various like post like first series Yu-Gi-Oh! That no one really ever talks about. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal. Well, I guess I never really watched. That's a new one. But Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds where they're all on bikes. And it was always really confusing to me how they would just shut down highways that people would use to do a duel. Like that like was just like,
That is unrealistic.
to me, that was a breaking point of like, I can no longer suspend my disbelief because these are public highways and all of a sudden these things come up that says duel in progress. And it's like, can you imagine driving to work and all of a sudden your highway to get to like the city gets shut down because two assholes in a bike need to play a card game? To me, that was just like, this is it. I cannot suspend my disbelief, but it's to some degree still entertaining. So I'll watch it, and I watched the whole series.
Wow, the whole series.
It had a really good theme song. And that was really what hooked me. Was like, I got to listen to the theme song every week. And at that point, I'm already watching the episode, so why turn it off?
Yeah, you might as well.
It was also, I think, the last show, like during the day. So it's like, might as well. I got nothing else to do.
Yeah, it's like you're putting that off before you have to go do like your chores or like do homework or something.
I would not. Neither of those things. Chores, probably. Homework, 100% no.
Never? You just never did it?
No, I would do homework. I feel, I mean, this is just another tangent, but I feel like I always would be fast enough that I would do all my classwork, like in middle school, all my classwork would be done in class. So I would never have anything to take home for homework. And in high school, I never did homework. I would do it as much as I could in class. Whatever I didn't finish, I would just do in the morning the next day before like school started.
Wow.
Just cram it all in there.
I think I would always wait until like Sunday night
Yeah, I would.
and stress myself out.
Yeah, I would just like, you know what? Fuck this. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Homework is dumb.
Homework sucks.
Homework's
dude.
dumb.
Let's try to get those middle schoolers and high schoolers now listening to the podcast. Homework sucks.
Homework sucks, man.
Dude, teachers don't know anything.
Well, I guess that's our episode on Saturday morning cartoons. Still a lot we could have covered, especially with more individual shows, but
We could even do this again sometime.
we could probably do this again. Maybe rewatch some episodes.
Yeah. Have a guest on who has specific episodes they're thinking of or specific shows.
Yeah, that'd be great. But for now, that's all we got. Paul, got any
Josh.
plugs?
You could still follow me on Twitter at Krang's Dumb Body.
Nice.
That's all I got.
Hello, this is Editing Josh. The end of the episode here kind of got some weird stuff with the recording, so I'm here to do the rest of plugs. With that, if you have any memories you'd like to share with us, you can do so over on Twitter at Nostalgia System, or you can give us an email, nostalgiasystempodcast@gmail.com. Also, we'd love it if you could leave us a review and also share the show with your friends. It's the best way that you can help us grow. We've also got a Patreon, patreon.com/nostalgia entertainment system. We've got a $40 monthly goal to cover our hosting and platform fees, and we'd appreciate any help that you can give us. Finally, we'd like to thank MoonRayker Music for composing our theme song Scanlines. You can find him on the internet at MoonRayker or at MoonRayker Music. That's Moon, RAYKER. That's pretty much it for this section of plugs. Next week, we're talking about school lunches, so be sure to tune in for some fun stories. I guess that's pretty much it. Bye-bye.